Hello, hello, hello. We are back. We are back live on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. It is me, your drill phenom SP3, back once again with the legendary manager himself, wrestler, historian, Dutch Mantell. How are you doing this evening, Dutch?
Well,
and we're back live.
Yes, it's I didn't ever think we'd get back live because people were like texting me, through social media.
Same.
Are you guys ever going back live? And I'm saying, yeah. Of course, I blamed it on Rick because Rick he's the problem all the time anyway. And I told him, yeah, we're going back live, and I'm glad we're doing that because we were doing it on a catch-up day like Sunday, and we did it last week on a Monday. And I'm glad you don't do it on a Saturday because my day is taken up doing college football season. It's taken up every Saturday. And I'm going to make a prediction on college football. Tomorrow is probably the biggest college football game in probably 10 years in a regular season because it's Georgia versus Tennessee and number 1 and number 2. You very seldom get that except for the final game of the year. And I'm going to predict it will do Bama and Tennessee did 17 million viewers. I'm going to predict that they will even beat that. I'll say they'll go 18 plus. That's a lot of people watching a college football game. It's going to be a great game. So, and I'm going to predict the winner. Can I do that too?
You can go. This is your show.
There's only 2 answers, Georgia or Tennessee. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to predict Tennessee.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first from Dutch Mantell. You can thank him when you make your bet on Bet Online. But yes, we are here to discuss tonight's WWE SmackDown that was pre-taped last week in St. Louis, as well as the live edition of AEW Rampage, a switch up of the usual formula where we get a taped Rampage and a live SmackDown. We had a switch up of that with Rampage being live from Atlantic City, New Jersey. So we're going to discuss both shows as well as a short little preview, quick predictions of the WWE Crown Jewel card for tomorrow from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So we want to hear from all of you in the live chat. Sound off. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible, but the best way to have your comment highlighted on screen is with a super chat donation. And we want to thank you so much for joining us on this back live edition of Smack Talk.
$10 or $20 donation minimum.
Yes, minimum for Dutch to if you have a question for Dutch, particularly, it has to be $10 to $20. Any other super chat donation, though, we will highlight on screen. And the best way to show your support, the smallest way possible, drop the thumbs up on this video, share with your friends, subscribe if you are new to the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel, as well if you're watching us on Facebook, drop a like, a heart, a smile emoji, a laugh emoji, however SmackDown and Rampage made you feel this evening. We got Ace in the live chat saying what's up, SP3 and Dutch. We got Ricky who's been wondering where has this show been. It's
absolutely
we've been here, but we just been here in pre-taped version, so we're glad to be here live.
We got preempted last week, I think, for the friggin' World Series. Who watches the World Series? More people watch WrestleMania than watch the World Series added up.
There you go.
I bet they didn't hit 20 million viewers. College football and WrestleMania, 100 million plus worldwide.
There you go.
I think the World Series is less than WrestleMania in total viewership. Wouldn't you agree?
Impressive. Yes. Yeah, probably. I mean, no, the Super Bowl, definitely. Super Bowl would be the greatest among them all as far as like being viewed by everything. But we're getting off the topic. We are back live. Glad we got Joseph here who said he's glad that the guys are back for real this time. Yes, for real.
He's lying.
we got SmackDown and Rampage to discuss. If you want us to talk about anything else outside of these two shows, like I said, super chat donation or in the live chat, let us know. But let's get into SmackDown, which was pre-tape live, and let's get right into the big thing from SmackDown, which was the Gunther versus Rey Mysterio match in the main event. It's been hyped for a few weeks since Rey Mysterio came over to the SmackDown brand. Dutch, what did you think about the match? What did you feel about the promotion for the match throughout the night, and how did you think it turned out?
Well, the promotion for the match has been, it was good, very good. And so in watching the match tonight, it just goes to show you, wait a minute, am I that boring you're leaving? He's leaving me, ladies and gentlemen. He's taking off. Something's going on. Oh, there he is. Oh, okay. Oh, he can't hear me now. Okay.
I was still listening. I just had to open my window. Right.
Oh, okay. But no, the show, SmackDown, to me, was a great show. It's a maintenance show, which maintenance shows usually are pretty good. But this one was better than that because you got an original match, Gunther and Mysterio, and they had a very, very good match, which shows you experience. And Gunther doesn't have that much experience, but I think he learned some things tonight with Mysterio. And he was so much. Did you see him standing there? How much bigger Gunther is than little Mysterio? And they announced him at 175 pounds. And I was thinking, and he's got to be more than that. I think he's got to be like at least 190. And he's jacked up a little bit too, because you can see it tonight. He's added a little bulk to him. Very good match, good finish. And I like SmackDown the way they put it together tonight. None of it was boring. And of course, in maintenance shows, your matches are shorter, which I think SmackDown could benefit from that. I prefer quality over quantity. And that's what they had tonight. I think they had a very, very good show, very good SmackDown tonight.
Yeah, to talk about the Gunther and Rey Mysterio matchup, this was the kind of the prototypical David versus Goliath type of matchup. Rey trying to use his speed early on to avoid Gunther. Once Gunther got a hold of him, he kind of took control, big power bomb on the apron. Rey tried to come back with a sleeper, getting on top of Gunther's back until Gunther climbed to the second rope and came down on Mysterio. That led us into the last break and the last stage of this matchup, which really got good, kind of back and forth. Rey with the hope spot, kicking out of Gunther's big power bomb, which usually finishes people. That was a great near fall at the end. Rey got a bunch of great near falls himself on a bunch of big moves, Hurricane Rana off the top rope, and then finally Gunther put him away with a short arm lariat to get the win, pop-up style with Rey down. He pulls him up, gives him the lariat, 1, 2, 3 to retain the Intercontinental Championship. This was exactly what we were looking for after weeks of these two guys going at it. And I thought it was a really good way to end the show, which was kind of, like you said, a maintenance show, but it was the go-home show for Crown Jewel. And despite being pre-recorded, which WWE tends to not give us the best quality, I would say, like you said, there was a bunch of good stuff on this show, and I think they did a good job of kind of putting a bow on the build up to Crown Jewel. There was a lot of like video packages throughout the night, especially for the Roman Reigns, Logan Paul. Early on in the show, they had a video package actually featuring, they showed the footage from Impulsive Podcast with Jake Paul, basically offering his help to his brother Logan Paul for Crown Jewel. Then they show the video package of everything that's went down between the two, and then finally ending off with the press conference from earlier today, where it was official that Jake Paul will be in the corner of Logan Paul at Crown Jewel. What did you think about this video package? What you saw from the press conference earlier today between Logan Paul and Roman Reigns, with Jake Paul being involved and the Bloodline? And what have you thought about the build-up going into Crown Jewel for this main event?
Again, a great build-up to it. They didn't rush it. There's no need to rush it. Actually, they needed to extend it at points. That's why we kept seeing it and seeing. But I think the interest is there. My interest is there. And when I want to see something, the interest has to be strong. Because what I'm interested now is how they're going to kind of close this out. If they do close it out, and I doubt if they'll leave it open-ended, but they will leave it to where it can be revisited. They have to do that. And sometimes they need to leave it that way. Give us a finish. And because with him adding his brother, that tells everybody there's going to be a big fight at the end. Everybody's going to get involved. And we'll see how that comes out. I think the video packages, hey, you're dealing with WWE. I mean, they are probably the best in the business in putting this together. These packages like this, I think they actually beat NFL and put them together. And that is saying a lot. I think an extraordinary job. And the whole show, to me, didn't have any big negatives. It had a few questions that I wanted to ask, but it was more in the execution of a match. But again, I think a very, very good job all the way around on WWE tonight.
Yeah, I would say overall for the buildup between Logan Paul and Roman Reigns, I don't think they have put any doubt in my mind that Logan Paul has a chance of walking out as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. But I will say, after the video package and after the press conference, this does feel like the most mainstream matchup of Roman Reigns' title run. Do you think that is correct in saying?
I think you'll get more publicity out of this. I mean, this will be worldwide. I think all your big news outlets or sports outlets will pick this up, even though with all the doubts about its legitimacy, they're still going to pick it up. And I think this is the greatest atmosphere right now for them to have a match like this. Because before, let's take 10 years ago or even farther back, the media would say, that's all set up. That's all orchestrated. That's all manufactured. But now, this is what they're doing. And one reason they're going to get all this publicity is they're all fighting each other for hits, for bites, especially on Twitter and all these and Instagram. And, the headlines will be for people to click on it and see what they're talking about. But I think I can't say it anymore. I think they've done a great job, and I think it will be viewed by more people than probably a lot of some of the main events in WWE history. I think you will get a lot more than what they say they're expecting, and I don't even know what they're expecting. But I think what they are expecting is going to go above that.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of the right stage for it, being in Saudi Arabia. You have Logan Paul, who has had a difficult time, to say the least, of getting fans to like him in the babyface role that he really wanted WWE to present him as. He was able to turn around the fans at SummerSlam with his performance against The Miz, but in the lead up to this matchup in front of the North American fans, he's not going to get a positive reaction. In Saudi Arabia, what we saw during the press conference is those fans like him. Those fans are a fan of Logan Paul. He got cheered. He got a positive reaction, came out with a camel. I think he might do the same thing for the show. The big extravagant entrance. And WWE couldn't have picked a better time to do this matchup with Logan Paul and Roman Reigns, coming off the heels of Jake Paul defeating Anderson Silva in their boxing fight on pay-per-view. It might have not done the business that Jake Paul was looking for, as he said in a recent interview, but it does, it makes him legitimate, that victory over Anderson Silva, and he brings some of that legitimacy being in the corner of his brother tomorrow.
So the legitimacy of Jake Paul, and who did he fight? He fought
UFC legend Anderson Silva.
So I saw something on that today. They said it was rigged, but I just saw one thing about it.
Nah, it wasn't rigged. I didn't hear anything about it being rigged.
Well, I read about it. So you calling me a liar?
Yes.
No, they said if you watched it, you could tell. I went and I watched it. It didn't look anything out of the ordinary for me. So
I just thought it was a fight that
no,
Jake Paul is a natural boxer and he's younger. It just happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just saw one thing about it anyway. But you said some people questioned it, right? Or no?
Some people question all of it going in. You still got people in the chat I see here questioning it.
Some people question wrestling too.
Oh, why would they do that? That's ridiculous.
No idea.
That's preposterous.
That's stupid. It really is. Question wrestling. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. So.
Well, let us know what you thought about the build-up with Logan Paul and Roman Reigns. Me and Dutch will give our final predictions for Crown Jewel at the end of our review here. But let's go to the beginning of SmackDown. You had Liv Morgan going one-on-one with Sonya Deville to kick off the show, Dutch. No disqualification matchup. Liv Morgan continuing this extreme character, this change in her ever since she lost the SmackDown Women's Championship. And this was a physical contest. I think one of the biggest highlights being the little table spot when Sonya was trying to German suplex Liv into the table before the first commercial break, and Liv just decided, hey, F it, I'm gonna back myself into the table to get us both into the tables. And then the match finished with a pile of chairs in the ring, Liv hitting Oblivion on the pile of chairs to get the victory. I thought it was a decent way to kick off the show. The crowd looked like they were into it. What did you think, Dutch?
A great match. Great match. And this Liv Morgan, when she did the double table spot with both of them, I think that was the announcers didn't really pick up on it. I don't think that she used her opponent to go through the table, therefore saving her from getting hurt.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, they both went through it. She gave up herself. No, she gave up her opponent to go through that table to save her. And the chairs in the end of it, they were brutal.
The powerbomb spot by Sonya on the chairs on Liv, that looked like it really hurt her.
Well, yeah, it probably did hurt her. The head bump or the pile driver, when it looked like that Liv took the worst of that, but she got up, she didn't sell it, but it was good. And I thought they would be more chairs at the end, but there was probably no need for it anyway. But
yeah,
good.
And it sounded like a canned "This is awesome" chant. It didn't sound like it was the actual fans chanting "This is awesome."
Well, I saw one guy out there saying they could just put him there, but there were some crowd noises that were piped in. You could tell.
Yeah.
But actually, great first match, great one.
I enjoyed it. Liv looking strong as she continues this new character change. Someone
is 125% better than it was 3 months ago.
Yeah, they needed to take the title off of her and create a story about her character. They rushed into the title reign after winning Money in the Bank, and now Triple H can kind of reform Liv Morgan in his vision, and it's going well so far the first month in.
Well, I think they put the title on her just to show that she belonged. And then I don't know how they expected it to go, but apparently it wasn't going the way they expected. So they took it off of her. But I think in taking it off her, it didn't hurt her a bit. It actually helped her. And now she looks like a serious contender. And I think this turning her a little hardcore helped her character. And she'll benefit from this. And WWE, they'll benefit from it too.
Yeah, it feels like they're building another baby face that can be a player in the women's division, especially on SmackDown. That needs it. And they added someone new last week, Dutch. We weren't able to go live and talk about Emma's return to WWE. They showed highlights of her and Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey defeating her with a poke to the eye and then the Piper's Pit into the armbar. We got an interview with Emma with the backstage interviewer that was interrupted by Xia Li. Lee, who came in and basically said that Emma lost, and the only thing Emma proved is that she is weak. And Emma says, brings up fighting Ronda though, and then she clubbers Xia Li down with an elbow strike, and it seems like we're gonna get some type of feud between these two ladies. What do you think about introduction of another women's feud, which I'm all for?
Well, I liked her interview, and I knew Emma because I was there when they brought her in. Very, very nice lady, very nice girl, and you could tell she wanted to be there. It didn't work out for her, but I think she went away and she proved that she really wanted to be in the business. And I think Triple H liked her then, I think, if I remember correctly. And now she's back in there. So she will find those, and she said it was 5 years on her interview. I think she'll find those 5 years were well spent. I think now she knows more, she's more experienced, and I expect a lot out of that girl because I think they can do something with her.
Did you always kind of think that when you got to know her, working with her your last run in WWE?
Well, while I was there, she was still green. So you cannot tell. I mean, I can just tell by her greenness. She wasn't really ready there. She wasn't ready to take the reins, so to speak, and step to the front. But these 5 years out, I don't know where she's worked. I guess she's worked forever independent in the world.
She's worked in Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling.
Well, that will help her a lot because then she gets around more people with more experience. And it's like doing anything else. You can't drive a race car unless you're driving some races. And they can't put them in Daytona if they just started driving a car. They're not ready. But I think now she's ready, and I think it was a good choice for her, even though it wasn't her choice at the beginning. I think her choice and what she's done in the last 5 years will pay off for her.
Yes, it's a solid addition to SmackDown. She has ties behind the scenes. She is the girlfriend of Madcap Moss, who's also on SmackDown. So I'm looking forward to her being on there. And Xia Li getting this opportunity is interesting after she's been off of TV for a while, but she is talented. So waiting to see how they develop this after this introduction here. Someone else that's being introduced to the SmackDown audience over the last couple of weeks is a new version of the Viking Raiders with these Valhalla Awaits vignettes with Sonya Deville. Sarah Logan, who will be returning to be in the corner of the Viking Raiders, but has not been seen her face yet in these vignettes. What have you been thinking about these Viking Raiders vignettes that's been on SmackDown over the last couple of weeks?
Okay, that was on tonight?
Yes.
It was on tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know where I went. I don't remember seeing it.
It was before LA Knight versus Ricochet.
Okay. I came in right when LA Knight was started.
Okay.
Because I had to get my dog was barking or something, so I missed it. But it sounds interesting to me, so we'll see where they go with it.
Yeah, and Sarah Logan's another person for the women's division, and it helps the Viking Raiders to have something else to kind of make them stand out, even though kind of their look and everything they do should stand out. But Sarah Logan being with them might add something new to them. But like you said, LA Knight, he came out next. He cut a promo before his matchup with Ricochet that was set up last week. He says this time he comes out with the mic and he says the incels in the crowd should jump on the gravy train that is LA Knight. He moves over to the ring announcer and makes fun of her for messing up.
The incels in the crowd should jump on LA Knight.
Just jump on the gravy train that is LA Knight.
That says a lot. If you just think about it, maybe they don't want to jump on that gravy train.
I mean, it might not be their type of gravy. They might not like gravy.
Maybe so.
We got Knight. He's running down the ring announcer, who just happens to be Samantha Irvin, who is the girlfriend of Ricochet. Ricochet has enough. He dives on LA Knight, and that starts the matchup. The matchup pretty much goes back and forth. LA Knight controls the middle portion of this, and then finally they trade off some roll-ups. LA Knight reverses a roll-up from Ricochet and then grabs the ropes for leverage to get the win. What did you think about this matchup here? LA Knight picking up his biggest win yet on the main roster against former Intercontinental Champion Ricochet.
Even though there was nothing between those two guys, it was still a good match. A good match. He got the win. I expected him to get the win. And I got to thinking about, well, should he have held the rope? But that's what I think he should do. Because I think he needs to give the people a reason to dislike him. That is done so rarely in WWE that the heel actually cheats to get the win. And there's no question about Knight can talk. LA Knight, he can, even when I was with him in TNA, he always had that ability to talk. Now, having the ability to talk doesn't mean that you can sell one ticket. But I think he's a good add-on to the roster. I don't think we'll see him anywhere close to the main event. He's locked into that the mid-card more or less. But you got to find your spot. So not everybody can be way up here, not everybody can be on the bottom. He's going to fit in right in that mid-card, and I think he's a good addition.
Yeah, he's kind of fitting his role as we speak on the SmackDown roster. I think we're going to see more from him and Ricochet after the finish here.
Where is the Maximum Male Models?
They are going to get D-push as LA Knight gets pushed. They weren't on this week, at least.
And who predicted that dead on arrival? I did it.
The real leader of Maximum Male Models, Dutch Mantell.
I see that.
Dutch Mantell.
Hey, I think my mustache looks a little better tonight than.
There you go.
Yeah,
you rolled it up. It up. In the back, we see Sami Zayn. He's talking up the Usos and Solo Sikoa. Jay is heading to the ring, he says, for a promo to talk about the Brawling Brutes and beating them at Crown Jewel. Sami isn't sure about this and asks Jay not to do this, but Jay says this isn't a bloodline thing. This is an Usos thing. They are the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions long before Sami showed up and will be long after Sami leaves. And Jimmy says Jay has a point, my dog, and leaves. And Sami says, my dog.
Yep.
My dog. Always great, even in small doses here.
Yeah, they're leaving it open-ended. They're not really telling too much of the story, and you could see a brother siding with a brother. See, the thing about this, it makes sense. You've had personal relationships in your life to where that goes just like this. You don't really know where anybody is, and the crowd. That's the beauty of wrestling. Now we're trying to fill in the blanks, fill in the gaps. Well, this could happen. This could happen. This could happen, and I'm highly, highly interested in how they kick this off, and then how they keep it going, and who's Sami going to get on his side. Very interesting.
Yeah,
they were leaning toward Owens early, but now they kind of stepped out of that. I think they tested waters on that. And
there was a recent report from Russell Vose through Give Me Sports that apparently the plans to reunite Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have been delayed due to the success of Sami Zayn in the Bloodline.
Yeah, delayed, not denied, or we're not going there. It's just delayed. Well, that's what you're looking for. You're looking at time and more, and they've invested a lot of time in this. I mean, they've invested almost a year. I mean, that's got to be a record.
It's been a while.
Oh, I don't know if it's been a year, but it's been a long time.
It's been since April. It's been more than 6 months now of Sami Zayn and the Bloodline.
Well, that seems like 10 years in WWE time. 6 months. I mean, usually they'd run through this in 3 weeks.
True.
And throw it on review, and we're gone. Well, I'm sorry you missed it, but we're off to different things. Okay, go ahead.
So before we go to the Usos going to the ring, we go backstage and we got Bray Wyatt with a promo basically trying to react to what Uncle Howdy had to say to him last week. Bray says he isn't the type of person to share his feelings. In fact, the concept is a little new to him, which makes this even harder. It makes it even harder when people interrupt him when he's doing something important. A production assistant interrupts him, so Bray takes issue with this. He likens this to being cut off in traffic and describes his road rage. He can't stand the way he's thinking about things and hates himself right now because he wants to smash this poor PA's head into the wall. During this, you can see cutaways of basically it feels like Uncle Howdy is haunting Bray Wyatt and haunting his thoughts. He says he's a year away from doing something he'll regret and tells the guy to look into his eyes and apologize for messing with him. The PA obliges and Bray knows he's sorry, then tells him to please go away. Bray tries to regain himself as the video ends. I was definitely digging Bray Wyatt's acting ability in this. He definitely got across what they were trying to kind of put across here, that Uncle Howdy is haunting Bray Wyatt at the moment.
Good segment. And while I was watching it, I'm saying, now what's going on here? Which means that it made an impression on me. And what is it conveying to me? And he's got a hair trigger, and that he could go off at any time. And he hates himself when he goes off like that. And Uncle Howdy, they kept showing that background. So Uncle Howdy, that's his name?
Yes, that's the mass. I don't know if it's Bray Wyatt. I don't know if it's another person. We don't know that much yet.
Well, I don't know any more than you. I'm just going by what I saw. But they're building on it, so and with more, and they have a way to go, I'm sure, at this point. So where they go, we'll see if it works or not. He did a great job, though. He did.
We go to the ring and the Usos are there. They try to start talking and the crowd immediately start off with Usi chants. Before we get into their promo here, were you able to see the segment last week with the Bloodline with Sami Zayn breaking Roman Reigns and Jey Uso with the Usi chant? What did you think of that?
I did see that, and it was just a clip of it. But that stuff happens. I've seen it happen in the past, but you just it's live, so there's nothing you can do. You can't cut, back it up, let's do it again. You can't do that. It's live. So you're stuck with what they get. But the fans, they still know it. They would love to break them up again. But it was interesting, let me say that. So as long as you're talking about it, and they're giving us some of these things now that make the fans do their own thinking. And as long as you're thinking about it, and that's why fans, we get, and you've read them too, oh, that's stupid. Why would you do this and that? But at least they're thinking about it. So, and I do like for them to leave the fans not totally, just concreted in that this is the way it's going to go. You have a couple of different ways all these angles can go, and I do like that because now that involves the audience thinking about it, and they're putting their thoughts into it too. A good show.
Yes. So with the Usos, they remind us that the Bloodline is in their city. Jimmy reminds us they're about to make history after defending their titles on Saturday. They'll be the longest reigning tag team champions ever. Jay warns the Brawling Brutes that they're the twos, and of course the Usos are the ones. This brings out New Day though, because they desperately need their record to stay intact. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston predict the Brawling Brutes will beat the Usos at Sweet Saudi Money. But they get into the ring, and Woods warns that if the Usos defend their titles against the Brawling Brutes, then they better understand that the New Day will be waiting for them when they get back from Saudi Arabia. So they do some staring down with each other until the Brutes come in and attack Jimmy and Jay from behind. The New Day and the Brutes beat down the Usos until Solo and Sammy come down. They even the odds, and Solo runs wild. He hits the spinning Us on Butch, I believe. Yeah, it was Butch after they beat down Rich Holland with a double super kick. But the Bloodline standing tall ahead of Crown Jewel. And it seemed also this could be kind of a foreshadowing moment or a building block for what may potentially be War Games at the end of November, since they do. The Bloodline should probably be in one of the War Games matchup. Maybe they'll go against a team of the New Day and the Brawling Brutes.
Well, they got something in all three of them now. See, when all four of them, the New Day and the Brutes, got on the Usos, that surprised me. I said, well, damn, what are they? They're not turning heel. They
wasn't very babyface, that's for sure.
But it makes sense in the scheme of things. And then when did what's the little ones called, the Brutes? Butch. And then they threw him out, and then he came back in, and they were beating the crap out of him. And how did that wrap up?
With Solo hitting the spinning solo on Butch.
That was a good segment too, because I'm thinking after, I'm not thinking anything when it's going on. I do my thinking after it's over. But that's what I thought. I said you had all four of you had two baby faces turning heel almost on the heels. And I still think they have it planned for those Usos and Roman to go babyface, which they will be over super duper baby faces. Because remember, I kept talking months and months ago like they don't have a bench. And now they've drafted these guys or added these guys in. Now they have a bench. And Triple H, he was thinking a lot deeper on it than I ever could. But he could see that, hey, we got to get some people here that know what they're doing and that can carry out these plans. And now he's increased that bench 100% since the time I was talking about it.
For sure, he definitely has, and the Bloodline standing tall ahead of Crown Jewel, and it was announced later in the night that the New Day will get a shot at the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships next Friday on SmackDown. So I would think that the Usos are probably going to win at Crown Jewel, and we get Usos and New Day. And if the Usos win, they will get the record for the longest reigning undisputed tag team title. So very interesting, them booking ahead where SmackDown is going to be stacked next week with that match, as well as the start of what they're calling the SmackDown World Cup. Dutch, what do you think about this announcement for the World Cup tournament on SmackDown starting next week?
Saudi Arabia has that, I think, that big golf tournament, the LIV. I think they got the idea from that, but it's wrestling and golf. But this is called, what is it called now?
The SmackDown World Cup.
What is that going to be?
It's going to be starting next week.
What is it?
I'm just telling you the information that was given to me on this show. All they announced that the SmackDown World Cup will start next week.
Well, I'm looking forward to the World Cup. And if you ask me why, I said, I don't know. I'm going to be just like you. I don't know. They announced it, so by God, it must be damn good, I guess. Hey, so I'm going to tune in and see it.
Hey, they love their tournaments that really don't mean anything, so here we go. We got another one here. If you don't get enough of that on AEW or New Japan, you got to.
And it could turn out to be a great idea. I hope it is.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys like Shinsuke Nakamura, Rey Mysterio, Gunther, the Imperium, Brawling Brutes, all from these different, countries.
Let me ask you this: Imperium.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does the word actually mean?
You want me to look this up now, Dutch?
Well, you could.
I don't know off the top of my head what Imperium means.
Oh, well, I didn't look it up when I was thinking about it, so I'll look it up later. And we'll have that. Listen, fans, we'll have the definition for that next week. Don't look it up.
There you go. There you go. Well, you don't look it up yourself. We'll have it for you next week, right here on SmackDown.
If you're thinking in your head, I need to know what it is, don't look it up, because we have promised to bring it to you next week, and we will.
Yes. I did say tournament, guys. I did say it was a wrestling tournament. I did say the SmackDown World Cup tournament.
We deliver, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay.
As always. In the back, Rey Mysterio, he gets interviewed by Caleb Braxton. Rey says that he loves wrestling. He's devoted his life to the business. He laments that he can't share this with his son anymore, but he's not going to give up. He's still going to fight on, and he puts over Gunther, but he's going to take all of his pain and use it as fuel to chop down Gunther down to size. And as we talked about earlier, he did not do that. We went next to we got a recap of last week with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey beating down Natalya, and then we got a matchup between Shayna Baszler and Natalya here, with Shayna Baszler picking up the victory with the Kirifuda clutch after reversing the sharpshooter. After the match, though, the more important part of this was post-match. Baszler was basically listening to the behest of Ronda Rousey, who decided that Natalya needed to be attacked some more, and Baszler landed a knee strike right to the face that busted the nose of Natalya. What did you think about this matchup, the post-match, and overall the partnership between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey?
Well, they've opened the door now that, you know, they have a lot of ways to go in that too. I think teaming up those two, they should have been teamed up a long time ago. Were they teamed up before?
No, never. They never been teamed up.
I think WWE. Teaming these two up
officially,
gives them a lot of avenues to go, and I actually like that because they can get that's a story in and of itself. And I think they've waited. I don't know why they waited so long to do this. I mean, that's the story that looks at you. They're both from UFC, right? Or from the MMA world. So
yeah,
I don't know why, or if they ever had that idea, why they didn't follow through. But I like that and I like the little touch of the blood at the end. So she must have kicked her pretty hard, huh?
Hey, I would think so. I would think so. They said they were going to do blood, but there it is. It must have been an accident.
So who said that?
Triple H.
Said they're not going to do blood?
Yeah.
What a lying son of a gun.
And yet,
I'm calling him up right when we hang up. I'm going to get him up.
Call him and said SP3 called you a liar.
Phone. I'm going to tell her first.
Tell him SP3 called you a liar. We get a video package for Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross recapping everything that's went down between those two before the steel cage match at Crown Jewel. We also got a recap of Asuka and Alexa Bliss defeating Damage Control for the women's tag team titles. I can't tell you how much I hate that move, Dutch, but that's a subject for another time. And then
you hate what move?
The move of Damage Control, just the overall booking of Damage Control since they've been put together on Monday Night Raw. It has probably been the down point of Triple H's booking so far since he's become Impact.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. And you know, I know they put a lot of emphasis on Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. It's not clicking with me for some reason. It's just, I mean, I'm looking forward to Omos and the monster of all monsters. I'm looking forward to that match more than I'm looking forward to Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre. I don't know what it is, but it looks like they rushed Karrion Kross. And it looks like a rush job. It still looks like a rush job. And I just, when I don't really understand something, I just say, I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting it.
He's only had 3 matches and he's been here since August.
Did you hear what I said? Damage Control? I'm agreeing with you. I'm not getting that either.
Yeah.
So even though they took the titles off of them, which is what I got that. they had to do that, but I think they were introduced like it was forced. And then they brought Bayley with them, and I think that hurt Bayley, really. Tell you the truth, she walked her own path before, so let her walk it this time.
It was like they kind of needed this to kind of make sure that Bayley was still a heel because they wanted, Bayley to be a heel in front of the fans. But I think that Bayley, honestly, if she returned on her own, she would definitely be a natural babyface because the fans want to be behind her, and probably would be better off because it feels like, the whole damage control it feels like they blew their load on 3 returns and didn't know what to do with them as a unit. Dakota Kai and others in the group have said that they only got called about this whole deal like a day or 2 before the show. So it wasn't a long-term plan by Triple H here. So you could tell that by the booking so far.
Well, the thing about wrestling is if you get something wrong, guess what? You got 51 more weeks in the year to fix it.
Yeah.
And you got plenty of time to fix it. So just no need to rush anything, except I think SmackDown took that to the extreme about a year ago. They didn't rush nothing. I mean, they just wore it out. By the time they come on again, you'd say, "Oh my God, again!" But they had a lot of talent on these shows. SmackDown tonight.
Yeah,
and it worked. It worked tonight. It was a good show.
Yeah. And I do agree with you with the Karrion Kross. Drew McIntyre hasn't clicked too well, but I will say the video package made it feel like we're going to get the blow off of this feud at Crown Jewel. So hopefully they'll wrap it up, but I don't know how they finish this.
If they wrap it up, to me, I don't think Kross is anywhere close to where they thought he would be. Yeah. I thought he would be more over, which is not a good sign for Karrion Kross. I think his character, when he just talks, he talks normally. I mean, I think anybody that off-center needs to talk in a special way, but he doesn't. He doesn't sound crazy. And the girl, she's just a good-looking woman and down right on top of the action. I'm thinking, what the hell is this? I mean, it's a great visual, but what's the purpose of it? Again, I don't get it.
And then the final segment here for SmackDown that we got to cover, we go to the ring, and here's MVP. He was pleased to hear Braun Strowman would be in action tonight, so he basically found some talent to go against him, talent, quote unquote, because they were quickly destroyed by Braun Strowman.
I loved that when they were walking down. I went, oh my God. They just needed to wear a sign saying, please beat the living shit out of me.
Basically. They got ran over by Braun Strowman. Then he went and attacked MVP. He gives him 3 power slams after behest of the fans to lay out MVP ahead of Crown Jewel. So, I mean, any comments on this? Kind of.
I think they laid out MVP because they might be some reason he can't go to Saudi Arabia.
Could be. That is true.
So I think they had to do something with him to say that he was hurt from the Braun Strowman attack, and he can't show up. Hey, why can't Sami Zayn go over there? Because of his...
Because he's of Syrian descent.
And he's blocked.
Yeah, basically the Saudi government won't allow him to come.
Well, are all Syrians blocked?
Yeah.
All Syrians are blocked, not just Sami.
No, not just Sami.
Okay.
He's just the only Syrian descent superstar in WWE.
So he can't go.
No.
Well, Saudi Arabia is the only place they go over there.
Yeah.
But hey, all of a sudden, did you know that Saudi Arabia was on alert for an Iranian attack?
Yeah, it was. Wall Street Journal released a report saying that the U.S. warned them of an imminent attack from Iran, but then Wall Street Journal put out a later report yesterday saying that Iran denied that there's an attack. PW Insider did report that WWE does have extra security protocol and emergency contingency just in case anything happens, but it has been kind of a black cloud over the event heading in, so I don't know.
Well, have you checked with Dave Meltzer about this? He should have the inside scoop, shouldn't he? Him and Alvarez. You ought to call him up and say, hey, what's the deal? What's the latest on this? What have you heard?
I go to the Wall Street Journal. That's what I read the Wall Street Journal, ladies and gentlemen.
Dave Meltzer blows them away. He knows everything. There's nothing he doesn't know. So I'm going to call him up right when this ends.
There you go.
I'm going to check.
Clip that so Dave will have Dutch on Wrestling Observer Radio. There you go.
I doubt if he'll have me on radio. He doesn't like me for some reason. Because I blocked him on Twitter and it hurt his little feelings and he still has me blocked.
How dare you hurt Dave's feeling? He's my uncle. He's my Uncle Dave.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Stop it.
No one from way back. We go to Rampage now, so let us know your thoughts on Rampage. You could keep sounding off on SmackDown. Remember, super chat donations, give those away as if you have a little bit extra. We always appreciate that. Very generous people who want to give a little bit back to what we do here. But let's get into Rampage, which was live from Atlantic City.
Where did these donations go? To the Retired Wrestlers Fund?
To the Raju and Retired Sportskeeda Wrestling Writers Club. I don't know. We begin with Mike Tyson coming out looking very nice, very spiffy in his gray, black, and white pinstripe suit as he gets a great ovation from the crowd as he's the commentator joining the group for our AEW All-Atlantic Championship matchup between Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata. I love the fact that AEW actually took a minute out of their programming to do a little video package and talk about the fact that Shibata is coming back from a serious brain injury. He had a brain hemorrhage after his match with Kazuchika Okada back in 2017. The guy was never supposed to wrestle again, and now he's back. His first match in the United States in over 6 years here against Orange Cassidy. And what we got was a kind of a mix of the two guys' styles where, Orange Cassidy has his character work and his comedy. Katsuyori Shibata is known for his hard-hitting style, and they met kind of in the middle with each guy kind of pulling stuff out of each other's hat. You had Orange Cassidy doing the Shibata sit in the ring, Shibata hitting him with the hard strikes, and eventually giving him the lazy kicks that Orange Cassidy is known for. Orange Cassidy coming back with Kawada kicks to the head at one point. Shibata eating the orange punch, which is Orange Cassidy's finisher. He basically no-sells it and just crunches his head back. I thought that was a great no-sell moment. Then he comes back. He goes for the choke. He drops him with a over the backdrop suplex. He goes for the penalty kick, which is his finisher, but Orange Cassidy gets another orange punch for the win. I thought this was a great opener, and I would say easily the best match I've seen on Rampage in months. I love this match.
Well, they took a match and they incorporated parts of the other one, like sitting down in the ring and the kicks and everybody understood it. You could see any other audience in the world, but if you showed them that, they would say, why are they doing that? But this whole audience and the TV audience, they knew what they were doing, which means that they're well-educated fans, and they incorporated it inside the nucleus of the match, and it fit in perfectly. They had a hell of a match. They really did. To me, what I was enjoying more was the close-ups on Mike Tyson. And
Mike Tyson was fantastic. He was he could have done commentary on his own, Dutch. Like, he was just making me laugh. He had these one-liners, especially when Shibata goes for the abdominal stretch and he calls it. He's like, abdominal stretch, and JR is like, oh, good call, Mike. He was like, I've been doing this for a long time. I started cracking up. I was like, Mike is great.
He was good. That whole opening match, I got to give it to Tony Khan. that was, and I don't know how much he plans this. I guess this may have been Mike and all the guys together. But it worked. It worked well. The match was good. Everything surrounding the match was good. Commentary was good. So a great way to open Rampage.
This just overall felt like the most energy, the most energetic Rampage in a while. Even though they've been doing live Rampage for the last couple of weeks, the lineups haven't been that great. The crowds haven't been as vocal as they usually are for Dynamite. This crowd was good, and they got a lineup that was unique, especially with this match being so memorable with Shibata. What was your thoughts on Shibata? I know you don't watch much New Japan, but just knowing the story of him and then seeing him in the ring, what did you think?
Okay, I've never seen him before. Tell you the truth, I've never heard of him before. But they told the story, which invested me automatically into this guy I don't even know. That's why you tell stories. That's why you have commentators, so they can catch you up on the history of whatever performer's in there. Now that I feel like I don't know him, but I feel like, well, I respect him already for hanging in there 5 years, almost dying, and then coming back into the same sport that he almost died in. You know, that takes a certain level of respect and loyalty and love, because I'm sure he loves wrestling or he wouldn't get back into it. So I was kind of invested in him, and he's with Orange Cassidy with no build-up, no nothing. It's just a match. And they went out there, and I think they had those people. I think they had them automatically. Now, I don't know how much of this they can hear. Was this a live show tonight?
Yes, it was live in Atlantic City.
Wow. Well, it was a great match. And like you said, they caught us up on the history of Shibata, which we needed, because if we didn't have that, he's just a Japanese wrestler to us with no history. But since they explained the 5 years and he almost died, what was it, a brain hemorrhage?
Yeah, basically he executed a headbutt to Okada during their matchup for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and instantly he started bleeding from the head. After the match, he was sent directly to the hospital, and he basically needed brain surgery or he would have died.
Wait a minute. So he got a headbutt, or he headbutted the guy.
Yeah.
And started bleeding out.
Well, just like it was like a trickle. It was like a small trickle, but it was like dripping. But after the match, he fought for like 5 more minutes after that headbutt that could have killed him. And then after the match, he went to the hospital.
So what was the finish?
The finish was Okada hitting him with his Rainmaker lariat for the win.
Okay. So he lost the match. Okay. But that bleed from a hemorrhage bleeding outside, that is
basically cracked his skull.
Wow. Well, mad respect for that. And he stayed with it, because he probably didn't think he was hurt till he went to the hospital. How close was he to dying?
They said within minutes, if he wasn't at the hospital as soon as he got there.
All right, I'm a big Shibata fan now.
Yeah.
Before you go.
That's why anytime he's come out for AEW, I popped big at Forbidden Door. I popped big on Dynamite, and I was very happy to see the performance here, which we got a great match. And I love Mike Tyson's kind of reaction overall to Orange Cassidy, because recently, Dutch, I've been watching Dynamite and Rampage with one of my friends who's a casual fan, and Mike Tyson's love and adoration for Orange Cassidy is a similar thing. Like any casual fan I talk to that watch AEW, they instantly love Orange Cassidy. There's something about his character that people just get into.
He's different. When I first saw the kicks, I went, get the hell out of here. Nobody going. But it's just one of those things. You accept it or you don't. So the kicks and the hands in the pockets, it's so preposterous, it's over. It's so stupid, it's good. So, and I didn't get him at first either, but hey, what happened to our little guy, not Danhausen. He was out there, but have they gotten away from him a little bit?
No, he's mostly just been in the corner of the best friends. He'll make, an appearance here and there during like one of Orange Cassidy's matches, but he's a part of the best friends kind of group.
Yeah, well, he's over too. He's over with me. And there's so much you can do with these guys. Because like I said, it's so stupid. It's actually liked and accepted. So
yeah.
Anyway,
and already
I like it.
A month in, Orange Cassidy's had a good reign so far with the All-Atlantic Championship, but there was more for Rampage. I'll talk about all of this in one with the women. We had a backstage interview with Toni Storm following up from the video package on Dynamite, talking about her friendship with Jamie Hayter. Toni says she wants to know, when did Jamie Hayter become a bully? She feels Britt Baker is manipulating Hayter, but that at the end of the day, Hayter is responsible for her decisions, and Hayter will pay come Full Gear. This led into the second match on the show, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Madison Rayne and Skye Blue. Early on, Rayne and Blue were working together very well, but things broke down. They made their comeback later on in the matchup, but Jamie Hayter is just an absolute beast. She stops Skye Blue in the middle of a crucifix bomb, reverses that. She hits Madison Rayne with the ripcord lariat for the win to give them the victory. After the match, Baker and Hayter attack Madison Rayne and Skye Blue until Toni Storm comes down. She takes out Rebel and Baker, and we get a brawl between her and Hayter. She locks her in the Texas Cloverleaf, making her tap out until Britt Baker comes in, knocks Toni Storm out with the interim AEW Women's World Championship, and then Jamie Hayter gets up and raises the title over Storm. So I like this. This was a nice little furthering of the story and the feud between Storm and Hayter, which I think they've done a good job this week of creating the story heading into the pay-per-view.
Okay, let me ask you about this one thing that Toni Storm said in her interview before the match. Did she live with Hayter?
Yeah, that's a true story. They all lived in the UK together. Will Ospreay had a house that he had Juice Robinson and Toni Storm, who are married, as well as Jamie Hayter staying with him. So that's where Storm and Hayter became friends.
Okay, Toni Storm is married to who?
To Juice Robinson from New Japan.
Okay, I didn't know that. Hell, why do you know all this stuff? And I don't even have an idea what you're talking about. Hey, folks, I'm learning from this man. They don't call him the historian for nothing. So I actually learned from Sid here. But, and she's a good talker. Toni Storm is a really, really good talker. So as far as I'm concerned, the first two matches on Rampage, excellent. Very good.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with both shows tonight were good.
Yeah, I love Hayter and Baker as a team. They really work well with each other. So this was a good win for Hayter as she gets ready for her matchup. In between all of that, or around all of that, they had a couple of backstage interviews, Dutch, where it established another matchup for Full Gear. We went backstage and had the Blackpool Combat Club with Lexi Nair. It was Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, and William Regal. Claudio demands a rematch against Chris Jericho since he never got his rematch for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Danielson tells Lexi that his list of reasons why he hates Jericho is too long for Rampage. He said he is still a former Ring of Honor World Champion, and despite losing to Jericho, he wants one more shot, and he promises he'll get the job done the next time. And William Regal tells Jericho that the ball is in his court, so make your choice. This leads into another backstage interview later in the night with Tony Schiavone, with Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Chris Jericho says he doesn't like the idea of facing Danielson or Claudio one-on-one. Jericho wants to take them all on, and he also wants to bring in Sammy Guevara to make it a fatal four-way for the ROH World Championship. Jericho knows that at the end of the day, his little buddy Sammy will do the right thing after Claudio and Danielson beat the crap out of each other, because he thinks everyone in the Blackpool Combat Club hate each other anyway. And as Jericho walks away, Sammy looks off with a sly grin and a look of confusion. And then later after the break, we get Sammy with a backstage interview where he talks about that little look. Tony Schiavone asks him about it. Sammy says that that at the end of the day, the Jericho Appreciation Society will have the Ring of Honor World Championship at the end of Full Gear. Sammy tells Tony that he's not going to get into that, and then he says that he is confident about that, and he's confident that he is better than Bryan Danielson. He turns his attention to him, said he wants a rematch. They'll have a best 2 out of 3 falls match on Dynamite next Wednesday. So what did you think about all of that, setting up a fatal 4-way for Full Gear on November 19th? Chris Jericho defending the Ring of Honor World Championship against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara.
I liked it because Jericho says, and at the end of the day, we all know that you'll do the right thing. Sammy Guevara's look was like, what the hell? And he walked off. Then we come back. Now we're going to ask him, but he blows past it. But the seed's already there. Now we know what Jericho's expecting, and they did that well. Now I'm interested in how they're going to carry that out, because they just got to get somewhere close to there, and they got it. So, but I doubt if Guevara is going to be a heel after this match, because I don't think Jericho's going to be a babyface. So you can kind of tell which way it's going to go, but I'm interested in seeing it. I want to see what they do with it.
Yeah, this sets up a very interesting match, and the fact that you got, Chris Jericho having one of the best in-ring years of his career in 2022, with Bryan Danielson, one of the best in-ring workers ever, Claudio Castagnoli, a great in-ring worker, Sammy Guevara is great in his own right. I think this is going to be a fantastic match coming up at Full Gear. But also at Full Gear, Dutch, you got the Full Gear Eliminator Tournament, and that led into Ricky Starks coming out for his first interview since defeating Powerhouse Hobbs in the lights out match all the way back in September at an Arthur Ashe Stadium. He mentions how he likes the idea of facing Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship or MJF, and he enters himself into the AEW Full Gear Eliminator Tournament. He says if he faces Moxley, he gives him props for spilling his blood at so much for this company, but he wonders when does that blood dry up, and then he turns his attention to MJF and says maybe it'll be him, the Devil versus the Absolute One. Either way, Starks is putting both men on notice. Starks is looking to win it all, with the launching point being by winning the tournament at Full Gear. And then we got the bracket later on in the night for the Full Gear tournament. It's going to be Ethan Page versus Eddie Kingston as the first matchup this Wednesday on Dynamite. Ricky Starks will go up against Lance Archer. You got Brian Cage versus Dante Martin, and Bandito versus Roosh next Friday on Rampage. So it's a very interesting tournament where it doesn't have a lot of the bigger names on the roster, Dutch. It has more of the underutilized guys that we don't see week to week on Dynamite and Rampage here.
Well, MJF is a very valuable commodity for AEW right now. But I haven't seen him since, he did that big blow up in the ring, several months ago.
Well, he's on Dynamite. You got to watch Dynamite, Dutch.
Well, that's too much. I mean, that's why I watched the second show, because the second show should use clips from Dynamite on Rampage.
I agree.
Because that catches you up. Now, these guys go out there and they start talking. Maybe some people can't watch Dynamite. Maybe they got to go to work the next day. I don't know. Maybe they just can't. But I think they need to intertwine those shows because they're talking about each other all the time. I think MJF.
I would say this episode though did a good job of setting stuff up for Dynamite that was important, as well as I think this show did a really good job of building towards Full Gear, which I think has been lacking over the last couple of weeks, and a lot of people have said they haven't liked the build up for Full Gear too much as of late. But I think that they did a good job on this show overall of building to that pay-per-view.
Well, they did do a good job, because I think your AEW fans, they watch both shows. But see, our schedule is pretty tight Fridays. We're forced, not forced. We agreed to do it. But we're watching 3 hours of wrestling. And after a while, some of these weeks is almost like you could take no dose that you wouldn't go to sleep watching it. But these shows tonight were good. And I got something else I want to ask you when you get through with this. I got a couple of questions I just need to ask you.
So what Dutch is really trying to say, Sportskeeda, pay us to watch Dynamite on Wednesday, and we'll do a review. Let us know in the live chat, in the comments down below, if you want me and Dutch to review Dynamite on Wednesdays. There we go.
Oh, yeah, you do that.
There you go.
I'll do it.
We got the main event, Dutch. It was Gates of Agony of the Embassy, Bishop Khan and Toa Leona versus Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor TV champion, as well as the TNT champion, War Joe. This was big, meaty men slapping meat. The Gates of Agony had control in the middle portion of this matchup, but War Joe made their comeback. Warlow was in the ring with Khan at the end. He hits the big old lariat. He hits 4 power bombs for the Powerbomb Symphony to get the win for War Joe here. After the match, though, we get Powerhouse Hobbs. He comes out and he basically calls out Wardlow again. But before this match, as well as after this match, we got subtle teases of some tension starting to, emerge between War Joe. First, in the pre-match, the pre-main event promo with War Joe, when Mark Henry asked him a question, Samoa Joe was about to talk, and Wardlow interrupted him to call out Powerhouse Hobbs, to sell him, to attack him again after attacking him last week on Rampage and on Dynamite this week. And Joe kind of had the look like
yeah.
You. And then after the matchup, when Powerhouse Hobbs came out, Joe was looking at Hobbs on the stage, and Wardlow kind of pushed him out the way to kind of tell Hobbs to come down to the ring. So, and once again, Joe kind of made the look. So what did you think about that tension? Kind of very subtle how they did it between War Joe on this show, and what did you think about the main event?
Well, that's how you do it, because it's obvious to everybody Joe was perturbed and kind of pissed off that he took his spot. He was trying to talk, and he just barged in, and the look at the end that told the whole story. So now that's another thing I like about what they did tonight, because now there's another door open to them. So they just got to keep following this, and that's great storytelling. It's subtle storytelling, not like, hey, I don't like you because you did this. It's left up to the perception of the viewer of what's going on. Now we can expect something between Wardlow and Joe in the coming weeks. I like that. How did that match end?
Wardlow hit the Powerbomb Symphony on Khan, while Joe had the choke on the other Gates of Agony for the win.
All right. But I never watched that very, very end, because takes me a while to get my equipment set up and see if it's
Understandable.
working. So, and that's because we watched 2 hours before we watched Rampage. Get it? 2 hours. Okay, we got it.
So Dutch, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna tell Rick we need to do this every week, is choose the better show. What did you think was the better show, SmackDown or Rampage this week?
I think they were the better show. I got to give to SmackDown. Basically because of their production values. Because if you just go production values over AEW, it's like
they're always going to win.
Always going to win. It's 100-1. They can't stay up with them. Plus, WWE has the production facilities that is like world class. Nobody really beats WWE in the production facility. But for content, even though SmackDown was a maintenance show, and WWE is still building, I think they both did good this week. Yeah. Really good. I have nothing to say bad.
Yeah, me either. I thought both shows were really good, but I thought Rampage was a little bit better due to I thought we had 2 great matches on each show with Gunther and Rey Mysterio, and Shibata versus Orange Cassidy. So either one of those I could say were the match of the night, but I just felt like Rampage felt like it was more energy than what we've been getting the last couple of weeks, where SmackDown has easily blown them out the water.
Okay, when you bring up those 2 matches, Gunther and Mysterio. Great match. But Orange Cassidy and Shibata surprised everybody.
Yeah.
So you got to say, well, you got to throw it right beside it because nobody expected that to click like it did. And it worked. So my hat's off to both of them.
Absolutely. Dutch, promote what you need to promote. We need to find you, social media, everything.
I want to ask you a quick question. Yeah. What happened in the Vince McMahon investigation? They wrapped it up.
It is now over, yes.
And have they released anything?
Nope, they have not released anything. They said that he is free to return to his roles, but Fightful has reported that WWE does not plan to change any of the changes that they've made over the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we should also bring up, Dutch, before we wrap things up, MCAS bringing up Double J, Jeff Jarrett, your good friend, making his debut with AEW on Dynamite this week. And now he is now the director of business development for AEW, as it looks like All Elite Wrestling is going to be expanding their live event calendar for 2023.
Well, good. And Jeff's good at that. He's a good organizer. Because when I was in creative with him, he organized all the stuff. I just threw ideas out. It was up to him to write it down and get it all going. But okay, my next one concerns AEW. What is the official wrap up of their investigation of the Omega? The Omega and the CM Punk and the Young Bucks episode. What is the final results on that? Are they going to release that? Or
well, I don't know if they're going to release the results. I think it's a legal matter, so I don't know if they can release it publicly, but it looks like the Elite are on their way back. I don't know if CM Punk, it looks like we've heard reports of the late that CM Punk has been voted out of the company. Colt Cabana, the man that he did the whole rant on the media scrum, he made his return to AEW on Dynamite this week. Also, though, AEW has released merchandise for CM Punk this week. So we really don't know as far as the CM Punk status in AEW, but it seems like the investigation is over there as well.
You want to know my decision on it?
What's your decision, Dutch?
Let the people know. They expected CM Punk to sue them. I don't think they expect that anymore, because I think they've made a settlement with him. So if you go away and shut up and sign this NDA, we'll give you these millions of dollars, maybe not that much, but we'll give you all this money and let's wrap it up. And I think CM Punk says, well, that's a hard decision. Where'd I sign it? And he signs it and he walks out the door. So
makes sense.
In a way, it was a double loss for both of them. But now it's a double win for both of them. Yeah. Because the less said, the better. And Punk was just in it for the money anyway. You know, you can say all you want to about, oh, I love wrestling, I love this. Well, he loves wrestling when he gets the money. But if he can get the money without the wrestling, then he's probably a happy camper. So, but I'm glad he wrapped it up. I don't think that does AEW or Tony Khan or CM Punk. I don't think it does them any good to drag this out and try to get more publicity out of it, because I think it hurts everybody then.
This is true. And we did promise everybody we were going to do quick predictions for Crown Jewel, Dutch. So, Dutch, who you got? Omos versus Braun Strowman.
I'm going to say Braun Strowman. Without MVP there.
I agree with you. I think Braun gets the win. The Judgment Day versus AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson of the OC 6-man tag team matchup. Who do you got?
The Gallows and AJ. Who they again?
The OC.
Okay.
Steel cage match is going to be Karrion Kross going one-on-one with Drew McIntyre. Who you got here, Dutch?
Cage match, that's almost a wrap-up to a wrap-up. I'm going to go with McIntyre.
I actually agree with you there. I think McIntyre gets the win, and I do agree. I think the OC has to win against the Judgment Day. To pair of tag team title matches, women's tag team titles, you got the new champions Asuka and Alexa Bliss versus Damage Control's Dakota Kai and Io Skye. Who you got, Dutch?
Wait a minute, didn't they just beat them tonight?
They just beat them on Monday on Raw.
Well, I think they'll do it the same thing. I don't think they're switch.
I don't know. I think they might try to rehab Damage Control by having Dakota and Io winning back the titles here for no reason.
They get $50 million for this show. So you want those fans leaving in a happy mood.
Get a couple of title changes. There you go. Undisputed WWE tag team titles is going to be the Usos defending against Butch and Ridge Holland, the Brawling Brutes. Usos continue their reign?
Yes.
I agree there. The other half of Damage Control, the Raw Women's Championship up for grabs, is going to be Bayley going against the champion Bianca Belair in a last woman standing match. Are they finally going to put the title on Bayley, or do they continue this dominant reign for Bianca Belair?
I think Bianca will leave it, go in the champion, leave the champion.
I'm going with Bayley because hopefully they care about Bayley that much. And this was a big one, Dutch. It's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley 2. Who you got?
That's a tough one, but I still think Brock is going to win.
Brock for the win. And finally, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. Who you got, Dutch?
Well, it's going to be Roman Reigns somehow, and a big schmoz at the end, and maybe it's a few surprises.
Yeah, I could see something like that. I think Roman Reigns gets the victory there. I think Brock beats Bobby Lashley, but I could see a scenario, like you said, a big schmoz at the end and the Paul brothers standing tall at the end of the show, but I don't think Logan Paul will have both titles there. But that is our quick predictions for Crown Jewel. Dutch, let the people know, final plugs, where they can find you until next Friday.
Okay, my website is about ready to go live. And I'm going to say some things about you, Sid, that
it's fair.
But Rick's really going to get it since he's not here. No, it's you can find me by Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's on gmail.com. And my website is about ready to go live. That will be dirtydutchmantell.com. And you can read my, if you ever get on there, if I ever get this thing's only been going in the making for like 2 years, but I will list in my bio there where you can find me in all these other places. But I need you to go there first.
There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang at True Hill Heat. The YouTube channel. Tomorrow we go live 12:05 p.m. Eastern time for our live watch along for WWE Crown Jewel.
Let me ask you one thing. Are you a college football fan?
No.
How can you not be a college football fan?
I watch football. I just don't watch college football.
College is so much better than pro. All right, I'm going to give you, all you got to do is make a guess. Georgia or Tennessee tomorrow? Tennessee. There you go.
There you go.
We're friends forever now.
I heard it from Dutch Mantell. This has been Smack Talk. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you all for joining us live. Thank you all for watching us on demand. Until next Friday, that's Dutch Mantell. I'm SP3, and this has been Smack.